Hi everyone, we're in Halifax. Yes, we've taken a trip up north. We're staying for a few days, we're enjoying the scenery, we're enjoying the experience of visiting some rivers and some dumps, but we're also enjoying this beautiful, beautiful place of Halifax. As you can hear, the bells are ringing this morning. They've heard that we've arrived. It's a Sunday morning and the sound of the bells is coming from all directions. And we've got some beautiful architecture. Right behind me, you might be able to see this clock tower. What an amazing piece of structure. Just opposite that, you've got the arcade.
Oh no, it's happening again, and guess what?
Now we've got the boing.
It's 10 o'clock, we've got to get 10 bongs.
Well, we don't mind the odd bong, do we?
The odd bong.
There we go. It's just what comes of turning up at a clock tower at 10 o'clock in the morning. You've just got to handle the frost and the interruptions.
Have we got to 10 yet?
No.
No?
But
Has anybody been
it's a very nice tower, isn't it,
it's lovely.
folks? Look at that.
The night cometh above the clock face, eh?
Yes, it's got writing all the way around and beautiful sculptures on it.
Hey, that was 10 bongs,
And
evidently.
it's gone quiet. So, that's what it's all about for me today. I want to see the buildings here. There are 254 listed buildings in Halifax. 3 of those are category 1, grade 1, top end of the scale. We visited one in the past. That was down at the Peace Hall. That's a phenomenal place. And we'll visit another one today. But for the moment, let's take you for a stroll and show you what you see when you look above the shop fronts.
Look at this lovely building. I like this. They almost look like radiator fronts. Imagine what's behind there, or some sort of ventilation, but it isn't. It's purely decorative. And look at that. The reflection in the window is of the clock. Let's see if I can get a nicer view right at the top. That was pretty good, isn't it? Oh, I can see a reflection over there of a reflection from a reflection. Oh, that's a lovely window. I don't know if that's why they put it there, but it looks really nice. And above there, look at this handsome chappie, complete with beard. He's very on trend for today, isn't he, with his facial hair? And then you turn around and this colour stone is everywhere. And it's so lovely, and when the sun shines on it, well, it's something else. This is something I love. Halifax Permanent Benefit Building Society. None of these plastic signs or a few letters glued on a wall. They would actually carve it into the stonework of the building. And this is really nice. You can see it's got all these, like, I'm not sure what you would call that shape. Like little roofs, I'll call it. I don't think that's the technical term. That looks like a fireplace. It isn't. It's where they got the ventilation. And you've even got parking meters. Of course, you've got to pay to park. But I want to take you down here because I just showed you a man with some very good looking facial hair, if you like facial hair. And now I'm going to show you somebody who might enjoy the company of said man with facial hair. What do you reckon? We'll have a look. Now, on top of the Swan Hotel are 2 carved swans and a lady with curly hair. Doesn't she look lovely? And I'm not going to be able to zoom in up there. Our camera doesn't zoom, but there are lots and lots of different carvings above every window. This is just amazing with the columns. But we can have a look at these carvings a little bit closer. And got a lovely leaf and a pine cone end there, is it? Or an acorn, I'm not sure what you would call that. But I think they're absolutely lovely and still quite crisp. Dirty. Look at the dirt on them. That looks like somebody spent ages highlighting it. It's all perfectly natural. And then wherever you go in this street, you turn around and you see the gorgeous clock tower and an indication of the weather we've been having this winter. Look at the state of the flag. It's been torn to shreds.
A name we come across very often down in Wales, up in Yorkshire, all over the UK is Burton's. Because Burton's, Menwares, Taylors, they went right across the country. Got a gorgeous shop up in Abergavenny with all of the names of the cities all the way around in leaded lights. Just above the doorway here, we can see Mr. Burton's signature once more.
And look at that, quite crisp again. He did Depends on the stone they use, I think. Some of the stones we see are quite warm, but you can see there, Mr. Burton's first name, Montague. Now, I can't remember what it is, but he actually changed his name to Montague because it had more gravitas. And then the old Burton building is now taken over by McDonald's.
As we're walking along here, I was just looking at these shops with their very modern frontage. You've got the Pound Bakery, Hex, Mail Bay. But then, as I say, you just look at, and can you see just in the centre there, there's a little plaque. Established 1746. That, I think, is incredible, because you'd never believe it looking at the frontages that we're walking through something 280-year-old. There were shops here and people were doing what we're doing, except they would have been in very different stores that look very different to today. Let's see what else we can find as we look up here in Halifax.
Look at these gates to Halifax Borough Market. It's not quite London Borough Market, but I don't know, it's probably not much smaller. It's huge in there. And look at the building above the market. It's wonderful. And there are the three balls of a pawnbroker. If we come down, this looks very nice. Brown's Family Jewellers and Pawnbrokers. And what I love about these places is the corner windows, not circular, it's like an arched window there, a rounded window. Can you imagine how much it would cost to have a piece like that repaired or replaced? Not a pretty sight when you look at your bill at the end. And here we've got a gorgeous bay window, and this says Halifax Civic Trust Award for 1993 conversion of Boar's Head Inn to offices. So this used to be the Boar's Head Inn. Always look up not only for the architecture, it'd be amazing how much information you can find by finding a plaque and going, oh, that's interesting.
Did you notice?
Oh, there's the Boar's Head. Yes, I can
yeah,
see
I just spotted him. You said looking at, but I saw him there.
A Boar's Head. And if you have a look down here, I'm not quite sure what this is. I don't think it's a Boar's Head. Do you think it's an owl? On the corner there. Very stylised, isn't it? And I saw something on here. Oh, I wondered, it's like an oak leaf and some acorns. I wondered if maybe it was a bit like Mouse Manor, somebody had left their little stamp of whatever their company does, but unless that is what they do. And I love this. Only something simple, but an old brass doorbell. Can you imagine polishing that up? It would look wonderful. Arcades are a real feature of this town, and you can see there the Arcade Royale. Very nice. It's got a dome on the top, a lovely bay window, and Tesco Extra, or Tesco Express are in there now, not Tesco Extra. And then directly opposite, if you're into your arcades, we've got the Albany Arcade. So there's 3 arcade entrances in one street. But now, if we go through here, I can show you. It's easier to see. This are now all being amalgamated into Halifax Borough Market.
As I'm walking along, you see so many public houses, grand buildings, but one of the things that brings home just how busy this place was over the years is the fact that while we were driving in, we saw the Victoria Theatre, beautiful theatre right on the edge of town as we came through. But across the road here, if I just show you, (1790 to 1904) Theatre Royal. This really was a busy place in years gone by, and is still a phenomenal place to visit today. You also get the sense of grandeur when you pass front doors of properties such as I'm doing now, which have colonnades on them. You know, this is not your average street with your average houses. It's got that little bit of extra, and as you can see here, it really does set you apart, but not necessarily from your neighbours, because the properties on this block all have a similar entrance. Here we've got the Royal Oak. This is an amazing building. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? See the carvings on there? Absolutely beautiful. There's a ram there above the oak tree. There's the oak boughs with the crown. And there's another ram there. Another carving on the far end here. And look at that for a fire switch. That's been there a few years. There's even ornamentation on the drain pipes. That is quite some building. And I just think it's ironic. This gorgeous timber fronted Tudor style building, and it's on what we call New Road. Well, it was a new road at some point, but I think it's been here a while. As I walk along, I'm realizing how the new and the modern is standing right alongside the ancient buildings here. We've got everything from the 17th century and even earlier than that, right up into the 21st century as building continues apace. But it just all shows how places change and develop and grow. But ultimately what makes any place is the people. Yes, the buildings that are being built are being put here for the needs of the people that live here and the people who come here, the people who visit in order to do their shopping and other things. But one of the big things that Halifax is linked to is the Halifax Building Society. And of course, many of the buildings here are to do with banking, because just across the road from here, we've got a gorgeous building which houses Lloyd's Bank. That's absolutely stunning over there. And then if we come around this way, we can see so many other beautiful buildings, and right here is what was once the post office. There you go. Isn't that a beautiful building too? Such architecture. Folks, you could spend hours and hours here just looking around the buildings, and it's not only looking up that you see the beauty and the unusual, because look, there's a mark there of the mason put his mark on this building, which is still standing all these years later. Yes, I genuinely could spend hours and hours here, and every time we come into town shopping, I love just looking about and seeing the different buildings and seeing the new things, spotting different things every time we come. But of course, I did promise that we would show you a listed building. So let's have a look at one of the 3 listed buildings that have grade 1 status here in Halifax. And here we are, folks. We're at All Souls Church in Halifax. Yes, as well as the Peace Hall, there are 2 churches in Halifax that have grade 1 listing, and this is one of them. Built in 1856 at the instruction and the support of Edward Ackroyd, a local industrialist. This is a beautiful piece of architecture, but it ceased to be a church in 1977 when it was closed because the spire on this place was deemed to be unsafe. And as we look up on this glorious winter sunny morning, we can see the splendor of that tower. At one time it's said the winds reached 97 miles an hour and they were waiting because it had been reported that if it reached 100 miles an hour the tower would topple. Well, it stood that day, and the property is now being restored. There's much work to be done, as you can see here on the side. It's very worn. The weather has worn this stone, and it's really shaped it almost like a skeleton of a dinosaur, going up and over and then coming down on the other side. Of course, the softer stone has taken all the way, but the marble, it looks like it only went up yesterday. And Colonel Ackroyd wasn't just interested in building a church. This was to be the centerpiece of his model village. He wanted to create a township named after himself where all of his workers could live and come here to worship at this centerpiece of his great creation. So he was a man with influence, and he was a man with money, and he certainly spent a fair bit of it on his construction ideas. As I'm standing here and looking at all the intricate carving and the valleys on the roofs and the shapes of the windows and such beautiful architecture, I can understand why Sir George Gilbert, the architect that was commissioned to create this amazing building, saw it as, on the whole, my finest church. I think whatever else he had built, I can understand why he said those words, as so many other people have also looked on this building and felt that it is the most magnificent building that he ever designed. And I'm certainly in awe of his ability as an architect, and also the ability of all those who made this building rise from the ground, and in a time when we didn't have all of the modern phenomena that we have now when it comes to construction, as I've seen the huge cranes and the new tower blocks going up in Halifax. But men took hold of stones, shaped them, carried them, laid them, and in a time frame of just 3 to 4 years, all of this rose out of the ground to the magnificence that it is today. And I hope that those who've taken the responsibility now to restore this building will be successful in their endeavours, because it certainly is a work of art. And here he is, the man himself, who in 1856 decided he was going to build this church. right at the centre of his model village. The carvings on this statue that was raised by the townsman are quite interesting. They seem to tell a story. They show all manner of people from different walks of life and express a time that is so removed from our own, but a time that still tells its stories, because the buildings are still here long after the people have left. And I just think, as I looked around this statue, it's beautiful to be able to just stand, take in the images and realize exactly what was happening back in a time long ago, nearly 200 years ago now. Hope you've enjoyed this wander through history, through the shops, around the listed buildings, right here to the church, standing under this amazing statue that was raised to Colonel Edward Arkwright. If you have, then please give us a thumbs up, and don't forget, share it with all your friends. But until the next time, have fun. Bye.